In other news today, we head to the United States now, where a state of emergency has been declared in Southern California as Tropical Storm Hilary bears down, bringing torrential rain. 9 million people are under flash flood warnings. It's extremely rare for California to experience a tropical storm inland. Usually they pass further out to sea. Well, these pictures show water streaming down the streets of Palm Springs, a city in the desert east of Los Angeles. It usually looks much drier than this. Some schools there will be closed this Monday so that they can check for damage. And there are some pretty fierce winds here in Cathedral City. People are being warned to stay inside and avoid being injured. And look at this coming from Death Valley. It's known for its extreme temperatures, but now the desert environment has been inundated with water. A lake could form there with the water. Rob Maeda, who is an NBC area meteorologist based in San Jose, California, he's been closely tracking Storm Hilary.
Well, it is unusual. A lot of times this particular storm is compared to the tropical storm which made landfall in Southern California back in 1939, so we don't see these too often. Usually the ocean temperatures off our coast prevent these storms as they approach. As warm core low pressure systems, they tend to weaken on approach, or they kind of curve back out offshore. But that's not the case with Tropical Storm Hilary. We heard the soundbite there from the National Hurricane Center. They just repositioned this storm. Very interesting. If you see over my shoulder, the storm center is actually located very close to downtown Los Angeles, and within the last 2 hours, we've heard reports of a lot of flash flooding, swift water rescues, and flooded roadways from western LA County out to Ventura County. And you can see the path of the storm. The remnant low will track northward up towards Nevada, bringing the potential of flooding towards Lake Tahoe and the Sierra. So some of the headlines that we're seeing across Southern California, half the state now under these flood watches, high wind warnings, and still that ongoing tropical storm warning across Southern California, where the rain totals, as mentioned, impacting some of the driest parts of the state. In many instances, some locations up in the high deserts or even the famous Death Valley, seeing more rainfall coming down in just a few hours' time than is typically seen in an entire year. So you throw that much rainfall down, even in a city setting, let alone in a mountain and desert setting, you're going to see the potential for some very destructive flash flooding like we're seeing across California tonight.
Yeah, how equipped is California or these parts of California to deal with flooding like this? We were mentioning there Palm Springs, it is a desert city and yet it's been deluged. And Death Valley, as you mentioned there, it's going to have so much rain. We understand that a lake could emerge within it.
Yeah, it will be interesting. I think tomorrow morning, once the skies clear, I think you will see a lot of these lakes forming in these areas that kind of sit like a bowl, so the water really has nowhere to go, like up around Death Valley, for example. Now, this particular storm, thanks to our partners at the National Hurricane Center, was fairly well forecast days in advance. You had local agencies preparing, swift water rescue teams from the Bay Area, for example, trained to deal with these high volume precipitation events, to be moving down into Southern California in position at the ready in case they're needed. And we're hearing a lot of those cases playing out tonight, with roadways impacted along the coastline there south of Los Angeles and out towards Ventura County. I think as we get more news at daybreak tomorrow morning, we're going to hear more of these landslides and rock slides and a lot of roadway impacts between Southern California out to Las Vegas and between California and Arizona as well.
How long do we expect the storm to last?
Yeah, right now it looks like the worst of it is coming through. If you look at the futurecast there behind me, the worst of the rain starts to lift away from Southern California, we think, as we go through the day on Monday, which will reposition some of those heavier rain rates over the southern Sierra and up towards the Lake Tahoe Basin. That's where the majority of tomorrow's flood watches will be in effect. Now, the top concern, we've had a lot of larger wildfires, as has been covered in the news over the last couple of years. These heavy tropical rains with high rain rates at times could set up over those burn scars, which will renew the risk of debris flows and enhanced landslide risk in those areas as these rains transition up towards the Sierra.
Meteorologist Roy Laida there.